I'll do my best to show you how to take these Impala door panels apart. This is basically all the tools needed. Dremel tool with a cutting wheel. Make sure to wear safety glasses. You don't want those breaking off, especially the thin ones. They'll break off and fly everywhere. A little flathead. This is the first thing we're going to do. Now to take these apart, or if you choose to take these apart, that means you're either doing a major repair on the bottom where you can't do it as one piece for some reason, or you're going to recover this top section. So other than that, you can clean these panels up and tape this up and respray them with the fresh coat of the sim paint. This one I've been using lately. It's the closest match so far. You don't have to do this process if you're going that route. If you want to recover this, do fiberglass work, customize, anything like that, you're going to have to take these apart. Back step one, if you're just going to take this apart to recover this section, I recommend leaving these two sections connected and just taking that off. And I'll show you how to do that. So first we want to remove the window sweeper, window seal, inner window seal. And these are just stapled on. They're thin staples on this model vehicle, this Impala. This is the only one I've seen these thin staples on. All your old 60s and 70s were stapled on with some really heavy, thick staples that you cannot bend out with a flathead. You'll make a mess and bend up the trim real bad. You have to cut those old ones off with a Dremel tool. Alright, these we can pry off. Here's one I pried out. If you can work on getting one side up, you can grab with some pliers, or I use these cutters and gently grab it just enough to pull it out. So we'll remove that. And it has an insulation on the back. We'll rip that off. I paused because I have one more tip to share on anybody working on these door panels, I guess. Especially if you're just going to put them back on like the factory. So biggest problem with these, here's one, are the mounts pulling off of their housing for the door clips. And usually these are broke. And then this edge right here and on the outside keeps you from pushing this back on there good. And over here, I guess. So if you want to correct that, and take our Dremel tool and cut these down about 1/4 inch, however far needed. That way we have just the right shape sticking up. And we can afford to go down up to 1/4 inch, and these clips should still grab. In worst case, you can buy longer clips than these in the same style. Alright. Once we remove the insulation, you'll see it's heat melted with some little circle shapes. It's pressed together and melted pretty much. Now these three and these three, which are much larger, that's why I recommend leaving them together unless you're going to cover these pieces separate. I'm covering everything on those. So now this is where we need the Dremel tool and our glasses. I'll save you the loud noise of the Dremel tool. We're going to carefully cut the edges off of these. It's about a 1/2 inch hole in there that a stud came through and it was melted down like a mushroom shape. So you want to cut that mushroomed shape off the top of that, and then even it up across there to where we can put a washer with a short screw back to put that back together. So after doing those three, Should be able to pop them apart like this. Even though the excess plastic kind of melted over, there's a hole in the center where we can start a screw. You just have to make sure it's just right size screw with washer, and that it doesn't go out the front. If we're doing these customized, we can come up with other ways. This still sharing the tip on just putting those back together, kind of factory. Easiest way I know how for the average person. Now these you don't have to Dremel tool. They'll actually pop off. If you can get a little small flathead really close to where one of the circle marks are, you can pop it. Just twist it in there and see it pops loose pretty easy. Actually very easy on that one. And it'll tend to be stuck to the vinyl, like it's kind of melted to the plastic. It'll kind of pop it loose too. It just comes right off. I think that would remove that easy. That one's pretty bad. I'm going to do some major fiberglass work on these. And armrest decent, but yet still pretty rough. Busted up in the major area. Especially this one. Let's see what I can come up with on those. And another little tip, stripping these down more, is this carpet is very aggravating to remove. Sometimes, every now and then, you can get an edge. Sometimes it'll even remove fairly decent. Depends on the heat it's received through its life, I think. So you can grab some pliers, start pulling that off. Just make sure you don't slip and hit yourself in the face. Why do I know that? Alright, you can use a heat gun too. Kind of get under it. You can just set it out in the sun. It's a real hot day like it's been here lately. See if that helps a little bit. But if you do remove the carpet and you're left with a bunch of adhesive, I don't recommend soaking it with alcohol or any kind of solvent, because it's just going to make a really sticky mess and make it even harder to remove. So it's got kind of a gummy glue on it. So you can ball that up usually and have a big bouncy ball sized glob of glue and kind of roll it around on there and pick it off. Very tedious. These are not really fun to do. It's always the finished outcome we strive for, right? And what else we got? I'm going to remove all this on this one. I'm going to wait for this just a minute because that's most of my structure. Get a good idea of how I'm going to do this one and just start attacking it. First step was to take it apart, so I knew it had to come apart. One step at a time, right? That's basically it to get those apart. And putting them back together. Just make sure these, you start a whole complete hole with the screw and put a little washer there. And just the right screws, make sure they don't go through. A short 1/2 inch. There you go. I'm going to take these parts and clean them. Take them by the hose pipe, scrub them off with a brush. Start prepping them, get some ideas. Next video I will do a tear down of the console, I believe. So thanks for watching this one. Till the next one. Peace.